road win.
Really had the feel of a heavyweight title fight, didn't it, last night? Warriors get the best of the Lakers. These two teams, of course, featuring their legendary superstars, and then both that made these huge midseason trades. And everyone talking about the Lakers, thinking they made the bigger move, but the Warriors are 20-4 since they got Butler. Lakers are 15-11 since they got Luka. After the game, here was LeBron about the Warriors being in his way once again.
I mean, I've been a part of them making big acquisitions to change their dynamic of their team before. I've had to go against them when they added Kevin Durant. So, I mean, Jimmy Butler is great. And, you know, he adds a toughness to him. He adds a championship DNA type of guy. But it's always the same. They always figure it out. They always add somebody to make some dynamic.
Interesting comments, and it brings us to today's Get Up question of the day. Has the Jimmy Butler trade actually been more impactful than the Luka Doncic trade? Now, let's be clear. Luka Doncic is a lot younger than Jimmy Butler, so no one is suggesting that when history writes the story of these deals, that the Jimmy Butler deal is going to wind up having been the bigger trade. Luka is 26 years old. That's a long way off. But for this moment, and for this year's postseason, Wendy, what's the answer to that question? So
I know that for television show purposes, I'm supposed to give a simple answer like yes or no. There's more nuance to it than that because the Luka trade did not complete the Lakers roster. They still have things that they've got to work on and get together, whereas the Warriors trade, a lot of things fell into place. So if I could just stick a word in there, more immediately, without question, the results show that it was more impactful for the Warriors because it's transformed them into a championship contender, which is what Draymond Green said about 15 minutes after Jimmy Butler got there. He thought they could win the title this year. A lot of us, including me, kind of rolled our eyes, and the more I've watched, I understand what he's talking about. I don't think you can fairly judge this Laker team until they fix the balance on their roster. But there's no doubt that Luka has the expectation is for him to make more of an impact than he's made so far.
Jay Will.
Yeah, Greeny, I think through the lens of immediacy, it definitely serves Golden State because you've seen that, how much the point production for Stephen Curry has increased considering having Jimmy Butler there. He probably had the loudest 11 points last night. He was so active defensively. His hands were everywhere. He was engaged in so many plays, and also his ability as a playmaker. I think Luka, as much as he allows LeBron James to take possessions off because he can carry the load offensively, I still think there are a piece or two that they need, like Wendy said, from a personnel perspective on the defensive end to plug those gaps for them to truly reach the land they want to reach.
Shams, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, and about Jimmy Butler has brought a lot to Golden State and to Steph and to Draymond beyond what he's done on the floor.
The Lakers and Rob Pelinka, they made a historic trade getting Luka Doncic, and that's a trade that's going to set them up for the next 10 years. But in terms of just this season, the Warriors were really dead in the waters before getting Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green knows it. Stephen Curry knows it. They didn't have a legitimate chance to compete in the Western Conference. They were fighting, scratching and clawing for the 9th, 10th seed. Now you're in a position where you could end up with a shoe-in playoff spot. You don't have to even be in the play-in. Jimmy Butler gave them hope, and also he's led a lot of their off-court camaraderie. He's hosted domino nights. He's hosted dinners. He's hosted them in a suite for a soccer game. Like, this is a Jimmy Butler that is fully invested. The moment he got there, he loved the vibes from Steve Kerr. He loved the Warriors' energy. He said it, you know, to my knowledge, I think he said it publicly and privately. This is better than any organization I've ever been a part of, and he's obviously showing that.
Alan, this could be a first-round matchup. I was looking at your notes this morning, and the first thing that it said was, please let these teams play each other in the playoffs. I think we all co-signed that.
Yeah, give me 7 of them, too.
What do you think?
And also, what was the phrase we used about Jimmy Butler when he comes to your team?
Remember the Butler bump.
The Butler bump.
Yeah.
Well, we are experiencing the Butler bump. He comes in, and everybody loves him, and everything goes great, and he is exactly what you want, and that's what he does everywhere he goes. You get that bump, and it's happening right now. So the answer is very simple, and Wendy kind of said it, and he's right. It is short-term, yes. The Warriors got the better deal. Long term, though, you still have to give it to the Lakers and what they were able to do going forward with Luka.
Well, that's clear. Again,
it's obvious, right?
Luka will become.
But the Butler bump is what's happening. We get it everywhere he goes, and we're getting it here in Golden State.
So let me frame it a different way. So I have a poll up on my Twitter page, Twitter X, right now. You can go there. It's at ESPN Greeny, and you can cast a vote. I just threw it up right before the show started. And Cindy, the question is, which trade will wind up being more impactful in this year's postseason? Which trade, Butler to the Warriors or Doncic to the Lakers, will be more impactful in this year's playoffs? Wendy, give me a little crystal ball here. What's the answer?
Yeah, I think it's the Warriors. I look at the Warriors, to me, as the second best team in the West now. And look at how tightly packed these teams are. It's so hard to stand out. That's what this trade has done. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you're the Lakers, this was a great opportunity to distance yourself in the standings from the Warriors. I don't think you want the Warriors in the playoffs as much as we always want to see it. And the reason I say that is, in this game last night, from an X and O perspective, both teams kind of want to do the same thing. They want to play small. They want to switch. And the Warriors are just better at it and better equipped to do it because of their personnel and because of how they can take advantage of Luka and how they can protect Steph.
Wait, he just said they're the second best team in the West, the biggest threat to OKC in the West. Jay Will, we buying that?
I said that yesterday on the show, Greeny. So I'm with you. I'm with Wendy on it. Yes, because I don't know about Denver's health, right? And that's going to factor into it. But I will say this about Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler. In no world is Jimmy Butler's skill set offensively even close to Luka Doncic's. But Jimmy Butler's impact on winning because of his edge and the details in the trenches are nowhere close to Luka Doncic. Okay, and that's the type of impact that he brings for the Golden State Warriors, just not offensively and playmaking and making big shots from the mid-range and really being the contrast of Steph Curry, but also defensively, he is not a liability. He is a star when you need him in the biggest moments.
I guess, Alan, the most reasonable way to approach the question is, which team do we think is standing longer? Which team do we think goes deeper into these playoffs? It could be settled immediately if they wind up matching up in the first round. Which one would you predict?
Well, you would. The others is what I always look at because the stars are the stars, and the Warriors have the better others. The return of Kuminga to health was important. The emergence of Quentin Post, that he's very useful off the bench, a big for them, who can do a lot of things. Buddy Hield, you saw Podziemski last night and what he can do. They have more reliable pieces, I think, when they call the others on that roster, and that's why I would pick the Warriors.
Greeny, he's called playoff Jimmy for a reason.
Yeah.
Like the real season for Jimmy Butler's coming up. I'm not saying he's been coasting in the regular season, but he's been picking his spots clearly.
And I guess we could circle it back then to the concern about Luka. I mean, Winman, I remember you and I talking at great length on this show, and you were everywhere talking about the Luka piece of this. And the one thing he has done, it seems to me, is after these performances, taken responsibility. He does seem to have some understanding when he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain on either end of the floor, which last night was a major problem on both sides. But how about that? Should there be a level of concern for this right now, Wendy?
He's not had a good year, okay? And a lot of it has been tied to the calf injuries that he's had. After we watched him lead the Mavericks to the finals this year, this guy was the far and away front runner to win the MVP award. We thought he was going to be having a coronation regular season. He didn't have it in Dallas. He hasn't had it so far with the Lakers. He will get a great opportunity in the postseason. But there is a pathway for the Lakers to have a really good opportunity here. If they could get in the 2 and 3, and Denver and Golden State were in the 4 or 5, and they would be on the opposite side of the bracket as both the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Warriors, the hardest teams to face. That was there for them, and the win last night would have really made it possible. And then you open up the chance that you only have to win one insane series, and you have arguably maybe the best player. And that loss last night where Luka couldn't deliver that and was essentially a playoff game does make you think there's more there. There's more that Luka can give, and he knows it too.
All right, we'll leave it there for the moment. Obviously, an incredible night in the NBA and a mad dash to the finish a week from Sunday. Meanwhile, let me show you the baseball highlight of the night. We got the Yankees, we got the Diamondbacks. This is the first inning, and I got 2 words, Shams. All rise.